Welcome to Wrestling Heel Talk, where we talk all things wrestling old and new. I'm Heckin' Steve. We've got Brian, Roger, Kev, Will, Ben Bowman, Dr. Nick, and GI Shane, and Manuel is supposed to be making an appearance here in a little bit. How's everybody's week been going so far?
Wonderful.
Busy.
Going well.
Busy.
Just another
Busy.
week.
Yeah, Shane, you were talking before we went live that you get overwhelmed with painter jobs.
Yeah, they're picking up. The season. 'Tis the season.
That's a good problem to have. We've had a lot of
Oh
bad
yeah.
weather here in North Carolina the past day or two, man. Some dude died, man. He was in his car and a huge tree in his neighborhood fell on his car and took him out Final Destination style or something like, well, not necessarily Final Destination because that was forward, but from above. But prayers go out to that person's family. I have no idea who they are. But that still, sucks to have happen to you. But anyways, we're going to talk about a few different things tonight. We got Roundtable, of course, which is a new segment that we've been doing where Will asks us all each questions, and then we're going to jump in and talk a little bit about how Backlash went. And then we're going to look at some of our favorite elites that have came out, and, of course, show and tell, and that'll wrap it up for today. So, Will, if you want to go ahead and start us off with Roundtable, man, go for it.
Yeah, I will. So I'll start with the first one. I'm going to ask Roger this question. Roger, who was the Undertaker's greatest rival besides Kane?
Hmm. In my eyes, it probably would have been Shawn Michaels,
That's a good choice.
just because of the fact that they went round and round and round, and it kept flipping sides. Of course, never at WrestleMania, but it always kept flipping sides. So I'd probably say Shawn Michaels.
Okay. Brian, what is the greatest title design they've ever come out with?
Man. I mean, I'm just gonna go off my own preference, but I think the Big Eagle is the best design.
Okay.
But everyone's
When
entitled
you
to their own opinion.
when you think of the Big Eagle, who do you think about wearing the Big Eagle?
I mean, I mainly think of Stone Cold. I mean, he had it for most time, but Kane. I'm a big Kane fan, so Kane had it for a minute, but mainly Stone Cold.
Like literally a minute.
24 hours.
Don't
More
make
than a
me
minute.
cry.
I know. Sorry, Kev.
Somebody dropped off. Ben dropped off, I think.
Yeah.
Kev, who was Vader's greatest rival?
Oh wow, man. Oh, that's a great question. I love
That is a
that.
good question. That is a good question.
Man, oh man. There's just so many that's coming to the top of my head. I mean, I didn't see a lot of his Japanese stuff, but WCW stuff. I mean, Sting was a great rival for Vader, and so was Flair. And the fabulous matches. So I'm probably gonna have to go with Sting.
That's a good one. Great choice.
Yep.
Flair and Vader too, man. They were fired. You're absolutely right. So,
Oh yeah.
Dr. Nick, Dr. Nick. So, the question is: Sid was a world champion, WCW and WWF. Which of his title reigns do you think was the most significant?
I would have to say his WWF title, um, just because of how WWF was presenting him as this, unsurmountable beast. Just, I think that because of the way that his title reign ran, and the matches that he had during that, surpassed his WCW one. And I'm not diminishing it. It just Vince knew how to market Sid better. And I think that his title reign during that was more memorable to most people, at least in my opinion. Especially how they he had such big pay-per-view matches.
So Shane, quick question: the Steiner brothers are up there from your neck of the woods, and they're heavily regarded as one of, if not the greatest tag team of all time. But when they were in WWF, they only held the tag titles for a short reign, a couple months. Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure why that is because they were good, like technical wrestlers. They maybe they just didn't get the push that they deserved. I'm not really sure. Maybe the guys on the big offices didn't want to give them the push at that time because of other tag teams, that were a little bigger around that time. Um, that's kind of what I would think.
Okay. Steven, what's the greatest WrestleMania event of all time?
Sorry, my cat is just all up in my Kool-Aid right now. The greatest WrestleMania event of all time for me would probably be WrestleMania 19. But then if you want to talk about like what it really should be, probably would be WrestleMania 3 because of the Hulk Hogan versus Andre match. Because even for a lot of wrestling fans, well, not for wrestling fans, but even people that aren't wrestling fans, they have a high chance of, they've seen that clip or they've seen portions of it just in passing, especially if you're like older than 35 years old. So yeah, I would say that, but I mean, financially, we'd probably be at WrestleMania 40 just because the popularity of the sport right now is just bigger than it's ever been.
Well, also too, I hear that all the time. The popularity of the sport, more people are into it and stuff. But the thing that they don't really put out there is everything costs more, and they're selling 2 nights worth of tickets instead of one.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it has to do with that. I think a lot of the numbers are fluffed, but I understand what you're saying. I had
Right.
another question for Ben, but Ben isn't here, so I'm going to go back to Dr. Nick on this one. Dr. Nick, out of the first 9 WrestleManias, what is the absolute best main event?
Under the first 9, I would have to say probably. I really enjoyed and I thought it stood out was Macho and Flair. I think that one was a, you know, it set the bar for, future main eventers, future ideas what a match should be, because you had 2 top guys who were doing things that they had never done before. Because up until that point, it's like, well, yeah, everybody's seen a Flair match, everybody's seen a Macho match, but they were pulling stuff out during the match that neither one of them had even done prior. So it was such a surprise. I mean that's just mine.
What
Can
WrestleMania was that the main event on?
That was 8, wasn't it?
well, technically, the main event of 8 was Sid and Hogan, but they called it a double main event because they
Yeah.
had Savage and Flair. So, I mean, I can see that as an acceptable answer. But who, in your opinion, who do you think won more of the matches between Flair and Savage? Who was the winner more?
I'd have to say probably Flair.
Okay. Brian, let me ask one more, just because technically that wasn't a main event, but it was. So let me just ask one more. Brian, in the first 9 WrestleManias, what's the best main event match other than Macho and Flair?
I mean, you got to go with Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. I mean, that match, set WrestleMania for years to come. When Hogan slammed Andre, and so in my opinion, that's the greatest match from the first 9 WrestleManias.
I'd like
All
to
right, go
answer
ahead.
that question just briefly. As someone that recently watched all of them last year, I think that out of those 9, the best main event was the Mega Powers Explode.
That's a good one too. That's a great one.
Yep.
A lot of people picked that WrestleMania 3 as like the defining moment for WWF, and it was a huge moment. But the actual match of Hogan and Andre, I never really thought was that good. Like I never thought it was. It didn't have all the feels in that match like you do in some of the other ones. And I know us in the chat have discussed this, kind of over and over. But for a pay per view standpoint and for record setting and all that, and really propelling the future of the company, I definitely understand why so many people look to that match. But
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, even WrestleMania 6, you had Warrior and Hogan. That was a huge match, and over 30 minutes of Hogan and Warrior battling it out. You really didn't see a lot of Hogan and Warrior matches go 30 minutes. So, I mean, that's kind of where I got that question from, and my thought process on that. So, but we'll have more next week.
To
Can I
me,
say Roger's question? I would say for the Undertaker, I'd have to go with Mankind. They had a lot of good matches. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of good
It's a good
matches.
one too.
Hey, so
Boiler
real
What's up,
room
quick.
Richard?
brawls.
Hey, so real quick. Let me ask William a question since he didn't get to answer one. So Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, has held every title except for World Heavyweight Champion. Why do you think that is?
I really truly believe that he kept telling them no. I think in 1995 there was a plan really well laid out for Scott to win the 95 King of the Ring. I think there was a plan for him to go on the SummerSlam 95 and face Diesel. And I really truly believe the plan was for him to defeat Diesel for that belt at SummerSlam 95. Then he ultimately could work with Brett, he could work with Nash, he could work with Shawn, he could work with so many different people. But he did get injured just before the King of the Ring. That wasn't storyline as far as everything I've ever heard and read. And I think that you know sometimes in life things happen that stop you from your potential. And I think even at that point, he was telling them, I don't want to be the guy. I want to be the bad guy, but I don't want to be the guy. Kind of like Andre. Andre used to say in his interviews, he'd say, you haven't been defeated in, so many years and so many matches and all that. He'd say, I don't want to be the champion. I just want to be the giant, because he wanted to be that spectacle. He didn't want to have the pressure of the world championship on his shoulders. And I think even during those times where really anybody could have been champion, talking about 95, they didn't have a lot to go on. They had Diesel as champ, but they didn't have a lot of other options out there at that time. Shawn wasn't really built up enough at that moment. Brett had just come off a loss with the title, and was kind of doing the mid card thing and really carrying the shows. He carried the pay per views. He had the best matches on every pay per view in 1995 that he was on. And if you don't think that's true, I would challenge you to watch the 1995 King of the Ring. Not saying anything bad about the participants. Diesel and Bam Bam versus Sid and Tatanka was a really good match.
Mm-hmm.
But the match that stands out in everybody's mind from the 1995 King of the Ring was the Kiss My Foot match between Bret Hart and Jerry Lawler. So, again, he's having the best match on the card at every event in 95, and yet he's not the champion. So, I really think it was a major possibility that they were going to push Scott to that WWE title. Something happened along the way, and then of course, you're only talking 7 months later. He was in WCW on Monday Nitro, and when he made his appearance on Monday Nitro in May of 1996, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, any character you would call him, had never been bigger in professional wrestling than he was the night he walked out there, because there was an atmospheric change
Mm-hmm.
where you could tell something was going on. And even if you were not a Razor Ramon fan, you wanted to see what was going to happen next with him. So, again, even in WCW, I think they exposed a lot of his demons. WWF, they worked a 300-day work schedule, and I think that helped kind of hide and control a lot of the demons that the talents had. more so than when they went to WCW. And when they're there, they're only working half that schedule, and they had a lot more free time to get involved in, some of their extracurricular activities that they probably shouldn't have been doing. And that really helped expose the problems he was having. So I know that's a really long-winded answer, but
Good answer though.
you have to put it into the whole perspective, I think. So
It seems like that WCW was setting him up for it when they had him win that World War III. And I'm like, well, here's this chance. They're going to give him the title shot. You get the title shot with that win, and he's going to be the champion. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Never happened.
But I think too, right during that exact time period, because going into '98 is when you really started noticing the change of Hall. Because '96 Hall, even though he's in a lot of tag matches, was on top of the world. I mean, there wasn't a hotter wrestler out there in '96, '97 than Scott Hall was ultimately. But by '98, he really had kind of started changing, and you could tell he wasn't his old self. And honestly, too, and you guys can go back and verify this, but if you look at Scott Hall at the '96 Bash of the Beach, the dude is ripped. He looks like an ass kicker. I mean, he's ready to go. If you go and look at like Bash of the Beach or not Bash of the Beach, Super Brawl '98, Uncensored '98, any of those early '98 pay-per-views, Scott doesn't look trim like that. He doesn't look fit like he was. So I think a lot of his extracurricular activities were starting to take a toll on him, and it was becoming obvious to everyone around him. So that's just my opinion, just my thoughts. But I think if you were to go back and just look at, a match from '96 and a match from '98 or, even '99, you'll see a much different character in the ring. It's the same person, but if you look at the physical character, it's different.
Hell yeah.
Agreed.
Well, Ben, welcome back, man. You missed your question, but we answered it for you. But
sorry, guys, I was on the phone. What was it?
It was something about JBL. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was.
Don't lie to him. Anyways, let's move on let's talk about Backlash. The Backlash happened this past Saturday. I goofed last week. I didn't realize it was that coming weekend, so we didn't do our predictions last week. But it was a pretty good card, I thought, and we'll go around and we'll rank it. But we had Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles as the main event, and that was a fantastic main event. I was entertained the whole time. The crowd was insane, as they typically are.
It was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. That's correct. Damian Priest defended against Jey Uso and retained. You had Bayley, Naomi, and Tiffany Stratton in the triple threat women's match. Asuka and Kairi Sane versus Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, which I thought was the least best match. And then Randy Orton and KO versus Solo and Tamataga, or I think that's how you say it, ended up being a no-holds-barred match, which was a quite pleasant surprise. Overall, man, out of 10, I'd rate that Backlash as probably an 8 out of 10 as far as today's standards go. Brian, what did you think of it, man?
I mean, like I said before, the crowd was just nuts. I never seen a crowd get into every single match, like every single talent they cheered for, they chanted for. I mean, it was just insane. The women's matches were both. I mean, they were underwhelming. I mean, I thought there was a lot of botches in the matches, a lot of moves. I mean, Jade Cargill. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's a great talent, but man, she has some work to do. I mean, she needs to learn how to sell better. I mean, I'm not one to talk. I've never wrestled before, but I mean, but I mean, overall, the pay per view was good. I wouldn't give it an 8. I'd give it like a 6.5 out of 10. But I mean, and the main reason is because there weren't any really surprises. I mean, yeah, whatever his name came out and debuted in the blood, from the bloodline. But I mean, for the most part, you pick Chalk to win every match, and that's what happened. So.
Yeah, that's a consistent problem for the women matches, it seems, is that they have a lot of missed spots or poorly timed executions. Of course, I thought Rhea and Becky at WrestleMania was pretty damn perfect for the most part. So it's not all the time, but it's a pretty consistent, especially if Bianca Belair is involved. I don't know what the hell's up with that, but usually if she's in a match, there's some issues. Roger, what did you think about Backlash? 1 out of 10.
Can I just throw in one thing real quick? You know, from spending all the time that we have, most of us right here in the circle have spent a ton of time with wrestlers. When a wrestler misses their spot, 9 times out of 10, it's the opponent that didn't set up the spot, not the wrestler missing the spot. So, you know, I almost wonder, and this has happened before, especially in AEW with Ivalise. You know, you guys might remember this, where sometimes opponents miss their spots on purpose to make the other talent look bad. And I almost wonder if some of the girls in the back are not Bianca fans, you know, backstage, and they're causing some of these things to happen. So just a different perspective.
Yeah.
But if you don't remember what I'm talking about, look up Ivy Lee's No Sale. You know, trying to no sell for I think it was Thunder Rosa. You know, that's a well documented thing, and a lot of times talent that are not friendly or friends with who they're wrestling or you know whoever their opponent is will do stuff like that, and it makes that wrestler look bad when it's not actually their fault. So sorry to interrupt, but go ahead, Roger.
I honestly have to agree with Brian. Uh, the women's matches were botched. The only good match was the Cody AJ Styles match, in my opinion. The Solo Sikoa, the Bloodline versus Kevin Owens match was a good match. Uh, to me, the crowd made the whole PLE. Their energy and how they were reacting to everybody and singing the songs, especially Cody versus AJ. To me, that made the whole PLE. It wasn't so much the matches. It was some of the matches, but it wasn't the matches as much as it was the crowds. So for me, I'd truthfully give it a 6.
That's fair. What about you, Ben?
Well, I'm probably one of the few that has not watched it. The time change,
Fake fan. Fake fan.
yeah, where it don't come on like you know Saturday evening. It's always you know it was an early morning, so I didn't watch it. So of course by the time I realize it's on, there's already highlights out or social media has blown it up. So I'm like, well, there's no point in going back and watching it. So I didn't watch it. But from what I saw, like from the reactions on social media, the crowd. I was like, I understand. Like I said, I can't. Some like the United States. I wish the United States fans sometimes was that more passionate, that exciting about seeing it. I know we get the luxury, we get to have it in every town several times a week, you know, or states, and so we're used to it. But like for you know going to another country, like look at the France, the Puerto Rico.
Jesus Christ, who wrote that?
Huh?
Nothing.
Just all of like you know where they go to different countries. Just the crowds are wild. So that's my point.
You know, they're probably all doing that because they don't get it as often, like you were saying. So they figure if they show out hardcore, maybe they'll get more events sooner next time. I watched it pre-recorded afterwards. I was lucky enough to not see any spoilers, but then again, I didn't think there was going to be anything that would be spoiled. I pretty much knew who was going to win. But I mean, yeah, you definitely should check it out, man. Especially the AJ Cody match.
Hey, we got a comment. It says he had one job. Damn it, Ben.
Only an admin could post that. So.
Although I think there's a certain adjective missing from it, but it's okay. You can insert any adjective you want.
They had actually said after in the press conference afterwards, one of the French journalists had asked Triple H, seeing what you saw, when would you guys come back? And he kind of dodged the bullet on that one. But it was asked, and he kind of tiptoed around it.
Well, I'm sure it'll be sooner than 3 years because wasn't it 3 years this time? Or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Will, what did you think of Backlash?
So, like I told the guys in the chat earlier in the week, the only thing for me, it just absolutely kills it with the time change.
Mm-hmm.
The card, nothing wrong with it. The matches, nothing wrong with it. You can't over expect on the pay per view that's immediately following WrestleMania because you're never going to get that WrestleMania level on a monthly pay per view. You got to remember, WrestleMania is the Super Bowl and everything else builds to the Super Bowl. It's like, NFL week one is Backlash, basically.
Right.
So you can't expect NFL Week One to be the same level of hype as Super Bowl. But I will say overall, I would give the total card everything a 4. And my biggest reason is because of the time. I hate that they do that. I don't like that they do that. I understand why. I'm smart enough to understand time zones and all that. But I think when you do that, you're taking your center core fan and you're telling them if you're not going to be up at 10 in the morning or 8 in the morning, or sometimes, we've literally had events at 4 and 5 in the morning here in the United States where they were, overseas somewhere. I think that's the wrong thing to do. You could easily adjust the time and make it a 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, even if it's a later event there. I think that's what absolutely kills it. And number two, and I've said this forever and ever, you put AJ Styles finally in the title picture and you don't make him look like a believable champion makes no sense to me. I get it. He's at, kind of towards the end of his career, but he is an uncrowned capable champion that could literally carry the company. If Cody gets hurt tomorrow, and Cody, in my opinion, don't cuss me out over it, is injury prone. When Cody gets injured, say he's walking to the ring and trips over his own shoes and falls down and gets hurt, then, who are you going to put the belt on? And I think somebody like AJ is who you throw the belt on, or Randy, or one of those guys. Randy's injury prone too. AJ's out there week after week taking ass kicking. So I think when you put them in matches like that, you got to make them seem to be as believable as a Brock Lesnar. And you can have Cody come out with a win, but you can't have Cody come out with a win and make it look like AJ really had no chance. That's the wrong thing to do. AJ is a very capable champion and should be in a lot more title matches. And the fact that, he's in there with Cody, he really should probably be the holder of the other belt. But I have a lot of opinions on that. I think a whole lot of AJ and his ability to carry the company and his ability to carry the shows. So, but overall, I'd give it a 4. There was a little botched timing with the appearance of the new Bloodline member. That those things happen, but you know, it just for me, there's better ways to have them come out. You can present those guys. There's better ways. There's better run-ins. What good did it do to have him come out at that point for them to win that match? It didn't really do any good. There's better opportunity to bring somebody in than that. So
I agree with that. It seems like that's how the Bloodline has to win every match. Somebody has to come help.
like Solo Sikoa is a believable friggin' talent. The dude is a believable talent. Like you could put him in the ring with nearly anybody. He's a thinner, younger Umaga, and you're saying Umaga would have needed all this extra help to win a match? I don't think so.
Hell no.
So why are we doing that with these guys? Why can't Solo defeat a Kevin Owens, even if he hits him with a chair? Let him throw salt in his eyes. Let him hit him with a ladder, or put him through a table, or hit him with the stairs. Yeah, I don't care what happens, but I would rather see a foreign object than another person interfere and get into a match. And again, it's really not the best way to bring in a talent. What happened to the art of the vignette? Where's the vignettes? Like, I want to see some vignettes that so and so is coming soon.
Well, I will say this: they just did one for Ilya Dragunov right before he came out on Raw. So
Well,
I
and
mean,
look what they're doing. Look what they're doing for Bo Dallas. I think that's wonderful, but that's a
I
total
love it.
different story. That's a total different story.
I must have missed that. That must have been on the last hour of Raw because I
Well,
didn't
no,
see that.
no, it's been every
That's
week. They've been
Yeah.
showing different signs and symbols, like they did when Bray was coming back as the
Okay.
Fiend.
The
How they
little
would like
QR
do the
code.
static and all that stuff. They're
But
doing
they also,
that for
yeah,
they're doing that
yeah.
for Bo as Uncle Howdy, and supposedly the 6 family members of the new family that they're creating are already picked and already on board. So, and you guys know they just re-signed Eric Rowan, which I
I
think
can't
is
wait.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yep.
You know, here that poor guy lost 2 of his best friends in the world, lost his friggin' job, went all over working for each and every company out there, and finally gets to come back home. And I think that's wonderful. Same thing with Braun Strowman. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a Braun Strowman fan. I never was, probably never will be. But the same thing. The guy lost the 2 closest people to him in the world, was all over the place trying to work, and I'm glad he's back. But I have a feeling this new storyline is going to be a big deal. And I hope to see Bo Dallas at some point wear that WWE championship because I think
Amen.
that's the right thing to do. Everybody, whether you're a fan of Bray or the Fiend or the whole Wyatt Rotunda, whatever, if you're a fan of the legacy of wrestling, you want to see Bo at some point wear that title because I think you need that level of closure with Bray. I don't think there's anybody out there that has experienced him passing away that doesn't still feel it. So, but
Mhm.
go ahead. I talked for way, way, way too long. Go ahead.
One more thing, real fast, off of what you were saying. Supposedly, the QR code they keep putting out is showing who the family members are going to be.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Even better.
Oh, they
One
said
last
something
thing.
about they're supposed to come at King of the Ring. That they might be showing up.
I just
That
can't
one,
wait. I love it.
yeah, that'd be cool. One last thing I'll say about Rowan before he got fired last time, his solo stuff he was doing with the being kind of crazy with the box and everything. I love that. I wanted to see more of that, but obviously we didn't. So now we'll get to see hopefully something even better. And I am a
Did,
Bray fan. I
did
mean,
you watch the
Braun
did,
fan.
did you watch the documentary, the Bray documentary?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I cried.
You remember when Bray first brought in because those guys came in to NXT
Mhm.
and Bray was like, I need those guys in the stable basically. And they were like, you need some sort of mask, and he puts the sheep mask on.
Yeah,
How intimidating, and it fits so well. And I think that's the level of character that we're all missing in wrestling. It's great to have world class athletes and gold medalists and all that other bullshit, but at the end of the day, it's professional wrestling, and I want to see some cartoony, scary
magic.
characters.
Some
Yeah,
magic. Yeah. No, absolutely, man. And when Taker whispered to Bray in the ring, I don't know if he ever came out to what he said, but I like to think that he said, "You're the new Undertaker." Kev, what
Rowan's
did
got
you?
to have that mask on. If he don't have that sheep mask on, then that's what they need.
I think
But
he'll
well,
have. I
no,
think he'll
well,
have a
no, because
variation of it.
yeah, remember they're designing all new masks. Remember in the documentary they were talking about all the new masks they were making and stuff.
So
They
it'll
were
probably be like
all
a darker,
they
deformed.
were all ideas of Bray
Yeah.
that they were making these, like Uncle Howdy was the idea, and they were already making the family members gear and stuff, in the documentary before he passed.
Hmm.
So I think it's going to be even more intimidating.
I think it'll be the same, but it'll be like deformed and more bloody and vulgar.
I'm just a huge fan. I can't wait.
I know the
Yeah.
female that's supposed to be in it is supposedly Nikki Cross.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I miss Insanity. I thought that was a good faction. But Kev, what did you think of Backlash?
So, my answer is like everybody else. The crowd made it. The matches were, subpar, but to me, the best match I liked AJ and versus Cody. But if it wasn't for the crowd, I mean, it would have been a shit show. So, but so where the hell's LA Knight? They were giving him a push, and he faced, had that WrestleMania match. Where the hell is he? What the hell is he doing now?
Where was Gunther?
Well, Gunther is on Monday Night Raw kicking ass.
Yeah, but I mean, like, how did they not have him at Backlash?
But I mean, I haven't even seen LA Knight on SmackDown, unless I missed him. But I thought I'd take up some of my time for Backlash to say where the hell's LA Knight.
I couldn't tell you, man. Maybe he's just on break or something. Richard asked why not Bliss in the Wyatt family. Probably because she's raising an infant.
I thought she'll be there soon somehow.
She's getting the push for the title, so that's probably why she's going a separate direction. That's what I would think.
Maybe.
Hey, LA Knights right now getting ready to have a rival with not the LWO, but the other faction.
Phantasmo? Legado?
Yes.
So it says he's out there snapping Slim Jims.
That makes me excited. Not.
Too much salt.
I mean, you had a guy
couldn't wrestle. He's
all
dehydrated.
behind him, all kinds of the momentum, pushing him to the fucking moon, and now he's going to be feuding with fucking El Phantasmo. Jesus.
I mean, it happens. They gotta give them somebody to feud with. They can't have them just feud with the other luchadors. They gotta variety it up, man. I mean, if you think about it, at WrestleMania, you had Hispanic versus Hispanic, and then you had the black faction versus the other black faction. Got to mix it up, man. I think the Asian,
as big as they was giving LA Knight a push, you would think he'd be going for the U.S. title. I'm just talking about how they were pushing him, shoving them down our throats. That's all you heard was yeah. And I was a fan of LA Knight, and even when he was in TNA, but now where the fuck is he? You gave him to me, you shoved him down the throat. Now I want to see him.
They pushed his ass right out the door.
Hell yeah, they did.
I would imagine that you'll see someone else hold the U.S. belt soon because Logan Paul is in deep shit right now with his drink with the FTC or FDA.
That was
FDA.
actually proved to be all bullshit.
Really?
The guy that busted the story is actually getting sued.
Oh, wow.
He didn't have all the facts straight.
Well, it was believable at first because Logan Paul has been getting into a lot of controversial scams and bullshit online for the past 10 years. So I guess never mind on that. But Dr. Nick, it's actually your turn. How did you feel about Backlash?
So I enjoyed the AJ and Cody. I've been a fan of AJ for years, so anytime I get to see him is always entertaining. Got to see something different. Cody and AJ have two different styles, so that was a good match. The Jade Cargill and Bianca, the reason why that match was done badly, and people have to realize this, when people switch companies, they'll tell you this. There's a different style. Like, for instance, if you wrestle in Europe and you come to the WWE, it's like a whole different world.
Yep.
When they say, I couldn't make the transition between WWE wrestling and how they wrestle in Japan or how they wrestle in Impact or AEW or whatever it is, WWE has a specific style of wrestling that is, they're starting to get away from that, now that Vince is gone. They're letting them do a lot more. But, Jade style wrestling in AEW is so different. So making that transition, well, like just as an example, when was the last time we seen anybody pull off such strong-handed moves as a woman? The last time we seen somebody do that would be like Rhea Ripley, or go all the way back to China. The majority of the time, you don't see the women wrestlers do that. Liv Morgan kind of did that because she's kind of built, but the majority of them, it's flips and takedowns and and shit like that.
Strikes.
And I think it was a mixture of the styles didn't mesh. So I wouldn't completely say the match was a turd, but you could see the botches very easily. It was very noticeable. They tried their best to cover it up, but it was just so evident. And honestly, it kind of tarnishes the fact that they won the titles just because of how subpar the match was.
Mm-hmm.
The KO match, and Randy and, Tama Tonga and Solo. I don't know. Maybe this is just my opinion. I think they're trying to establish Solo as strong as they can. And so many people were expecting Jacob Fatu. But the problem with that is they're worried that Jacob Fatu is going to outshine Solo. Not talent-wise, but because of his notoriety, because of who he is and what he represents. I think it was done horribly oh, look, there's somebody coming out from the underneath the ring. I agree with everybody on that. It's been done a million times. They could have had a run from the crowd. They could have had him show up in the back, walk by in the back, and everybody go, oh, who was that? There's so many other things they could have done that would have been so much better than, oh my God, because in all honesty, how many people really knew who that was? I didn't. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know who it was. When they said the name, I was like, let me Google that a minute. Because I didn't follow the company that he's in. So when they tried to make it like, oh my God, somebody's here. And I'm like, who is this? I personally didn't give a shit. And it's nothing against him, but I think Backlash was one of those shows, and it's always been a WrestleMania sequel. Not as good as the original. You're going to get kind of like, not a shit show, but you got to think, everybody just came off that huge show not too very long ago. Guys are beat up. They're, kind of rearranging and getting ready for the next big pay-per-view, which is SummerSlam. So, to expect Backlash to be a, huge 10-star thing, if you're going into it with that type of expectation, you're going to be disappointed. I would say, honestly, in my opinion, it was like a 7. Not quite an 8, but I enjoyed it for what it was. So that's my take on it.
It was a good take too, man.
You rated it a lot higher than I did.
Shane, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, everybody else basically summed it up. The crowd made the whole show, in my opinion. It was a 5-6. I liked it, but nothing really special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess maybe I was a little too generous with the 8 out of 10, but I mean, I just enjoyed it, man.
Opinion.
It was good wrestling, I thought, man. Other than the couple of botches and missed spots and everything, and the women's matches and stuff. But yeah, like Richard just put in the comments, he heard that Detroit is bidding for WrestleMania 41. That would be fantastic. And then Shane, of course, be our man on the front lines.
Well, that's not accurate because WrestleMania 41 has already been announced for Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas?
Yep.
Yeah.
April 20th.
April 20th, going late into April now, huh?
Yep, 20th and the 21st.
That's wild, man. Yeah, make sure I get everybody back in the right spots, man.
That's why they had to change the date of Squared Circle.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they had it originally announced for April 20th. They're going to announce the new date probably tomorrow.
Maybe they'll get 42. Oh, Brian, I think you got some feedback coming through, bud.
It's gone now, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I was hearing myself speak. I can't believe I sound so much like a douche and y'all hang out with me. So thank you.
We're ready to show some
Well,
figures.
Yes.
In your defense, this is the last time we're hanging out with you, though.
That is true. So I was gonna wait until the end of the show, but this is gonna be my last episode as a main cast member of the podcast. But I'll still drop in from.
We wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Give me the old WWE release. I'm gonna be like Jinder Mahal on Instagram making a video. But no, I'm glad that you guys are gonna keep doing it and everything. And like I said, I'll jump in from time to time. It's just with my busy work schedule and doing my main YouTube channel and stuff, it just takes up too much time. Especially during the weekdays, man. When I get home from work, I just want to sit on the couch and be a zombie, just doing nothing. But we'll go ahead and move in. We got 2 more segments left. So first, we're going to show off our favorite WWE Elite that's in our collection. I didn't want to pick one. Someone said I'm all elite in the comments. Abner Silence. No, I'm not all elite. I mean, I don't have anything against AEW, but I think last time we did this segment, I picked like one of my signed figures, so I wanted to actually do a loose figure this time. And of course, anybody that knows me, I'm gonna have to go with this guy right here, Seth Rollins Ultimate Edition. It's mostly because of the soft goods and everything. Well, an Ultimate is an Elite, and this one is barely considered an Ultimate since it doesn't really come with much. But that coat just that's why I say it's my favorite Elite in my collection. Every time I walk by my figure shelf and I see that thing, I go, "Damn, that's a good fig right there."
Cool deal.
Brian, what you got, man?
Well, I didn't do favorite Elite in my collection because there's so many, but I picked one that I liked in the last year probably, but it's from the Hogan 3-pack, but it's the middle Hogan, NWO Hogan. Look at that thing.
Sweet.
So in my opinion, and in Brian's opinion, that is a better Hollywood Hogan figure than the Ultimate Edition that came out.
Correct.
Agreed.
I mean,
Hell
the
yeah.
detail. I mean, the paint. I mean, look at the Hollywood. The movie strip right there, and yeah, it's just a beautiful figure, man.
As many figures as he gets, I'm just glad that it's not always the same one.
I guess.
Like how lame would it be if they like had the Ultimate Edition? It's the same thing that's in the 3-pack, or if they just put out like a regular Elite, the same Hollywood.
Well, with Hogan figures, a lot of people don't know this, but there's a chart that somebody made and passed around. Each Hogan figure that has come out represented a specific date or a specific event. So it's actually pretty cool. I can send that out in the group chat and show you guys. A couple of the dates I think are maybe possibly inaccurate, but they're pretty damn close.
Like his basic figures are even on that chart, not just his elites. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Hell yeah, Roger, what you got, man?
You're muted, brother.
You're on mute, Roger.
You're muted.
Oh no, I'm deaf.
There we go.
Shit.
I'd have to say it's my autographed Elite Sasha Banks.
I love that figure too.
Hell yeah.
To me, that's probably my best one, the one I treasured the most, I'd say, or pretty close to the most.
I have that same one. It's a beauty.
And
She's got a pretty cool autograph too.
Yeah. And the blue really pops on it. So yeah, I'd say probably that's one of mine, if not. I'd say at least one of mine in my top 5.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
Excellent
Robert
choice.
says Robert's in the house. What's up, man? Richard wants
What's
you
up,
to send
Robert?
him that. Richard wants you to send that list as well. And Manuel, what's up, guys?
What's up, Manuel? Umpire Manuel.
Umpire Manuel. All right, Ben, you're up next. What's your favorite Elite in your collection?
My favorite is right here. And I was just based on the box detailed and everything that came with it. It's an expensive figure, and I was lucky to get it, which was the No Holds Bar. Think how badass that is, like the old VHS tape.
Nice.
And then you got the figures on the inside. Man, that is freaking sweet. These are my favorite. Of course, I'm a Hulk fan. Love the movie No Holds Bar. But yeah, like I said, once this came out, I wasn't able to get it, and then eventually, of course, took some time, and I was able to buy it over time.
Nice.
Cool fig.
That was,
Oh yeah, man. That is pretty cool packaging, man. I like that.
Wish I
But
would've
you
went
had
with the Colt
you had a 2-for-1 out of the elites there, so that one don't count, Ben. You cheated. I'm just kidding.
No extra credit.
No extra credit. All right, Will, you're up next.
so I don't have it in my hand. My office is a mess, obviously. I haven't been home very much this week. I've been so sick. But my favorite figure currently right now is the brand new Lex Luger SummerSlam. Obviously my all-time favorite is going to be that Ultimate Macho with the green hat. But right now, currently, the new Lex Luger SummerSlam figure, if you haven't got a hold of that one yet, man, you're missing out. So I don't have it in my hand to show you, but most of you guys know what it is. So definitely get your hands on one of those. It is sweet.
Yeah, you showed it last week too. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I showed the autograph one last week, but I'm talking about the loose one. Just have it loose in the collection. Incredible, man.
Yeah, I agree with you on that Macho too. That's a beautiful one with the hat,
Oh, I love it.
and then the Black Butterfly defining moments Ric Flair. That's a good one too.
It is.
It's on me, so I'm always going to show this figure as one of my best and my favorite.
Look at that signature, man. Beautiful.
It's signed, so I really need to get. I don't have one that's open. I really need to get one so I can open it because, man, that fig is one of the best I think that's ever made. If you actually look at everything made on a fig, there.
Kev, let me check the garage. I might have a couple more of those.
Sweet, because I just want one to open because look at that figure. It's just,
Yeah, it's
I
awesome.
never liked the gimmick, but that figure is just well made. It's just 100% well made.
Yeah, that's a good one, man.
Okay.
Gotta love the Ron Simmons. What about you, Dr. Nick? Did you pick
Well-
one out of that 1,000?
Yeah, this one I actually shot quite a few people. It's their version of an elite, but one of my favorites is unrivaled, very nice, very evil, Danhausen.
Nice.
This figure is literally his face scan. It's like they shrunk him down and made a figure of him. It is that detailed. The gear with the teeth, and I mean they put so much detail into even the face paint,
Mhm.
and you got the curse hands, of course. But I just really love this figure. I've been a fan of his for quite a long time. So when they finally released it, and of course I've got the other couple too, but yeah, I just really enjoy. I've always been a fan of face painted figures. They're just so toyetic. So that's my pick.
Toyetic, is that a made up word?
No, they started using that a lot in Mattel circles
Okay.
to kind of describe like for instance, like William said about like the cartoony, the gimmicks that you see and the figures that people really love, like the Doinks, the Warriors, the any type of outfit like your Seth Rollins. Those are always the ones that sell the best because of the colors of the outfits. So
Yeah,
they
true.
started using that term toyetic. As a matter of fact, a lot of wrestlers have started to change their gear more often, so they'll get more figures.
Yeah. They were talking about that in a couple of documentaries I saw recently. Talk about how
Hey,
Jeff
one
Hardy
thing-
used to do that.
One thing real quick though, a lot of times we joke about and we tease about AEW because not everybody's an AEW fan. But one thing I will say is they have got some badass figures. They do a good job on their figures, and that's one thing you can definitely say. Those Supreme figures that they put out are incredible. That new Daniel Bryan figure, that pay-per-view edition Daniel Bryan figure was incredible. They've had the Blood and Guts figures; those were all incredible. So again, regardless of all the joking and shit talking and everything about AEW, one major positive you can say is I wouldn't be embarrassed to own, quite a few of those AEW figures because they put out some really great figures.
Oh yeah, Jazzwares does a great job.
I agree with that. I have that. I
All
still have that
except
Luchasaurus or what is it, Jungle Express. I still have that
Yeah.
boxed up. Beautiful packaging. It would be a sin to open it, to be honest with you, just because the packaging looks so beautiful.
they have
But
some good basic figures too, except for that Nyla Rose.
Oh, that looks so bad.
Drop down hips, baby.
yeah,
Hell
that's a
no.
great
No.
pick.
No.
Great pick, Dr. Nick.
No, you done ruined the damn drop down hips for me.
That's assault, brother.
Drop down nuts or something. Well,
Drop down. No. All right. Well, I'm glad this is
I don't
my
think you
last
can- I don't
episode
think-
because you guys are going to
Yeah, I
get
don't-
canceled.
I don't
Yeah.
think you can say that.
yeah, I don't think I could either.
Nah.
Hey,
you'd be all right.
Jesus left the chat again, guys.
I'll issue an
Yep.
apology tomorrow.
Well, it's hard to pick because, all my figures I like, so they're, all my favorites, but I'd have to go with the Bray
Oh,
Wyatt.
yeah.
Ooh,
Beautiful.
look at
Beautiful.
that.
Yeah.
That's a
Look
good.
at that.
That would be one
That
of my
was-
favorites.
That figure was so hard to find when that came out because that was
Yep.
the Fiend's first figure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a shame some guy wrote on it,
Yeah,
You know?
damn shame. Why don't you get an alcohol wipe and wipe that off? Make it worth more.
Yeah.
No,
Nah.
it's hand sanitizer.
Ugh.
You know what I just got today, and it's pretty detailed, is that Asuka.
I love that.
Oh
Ultimate.
yeah, I
Man,
still need to get that one.
The
Is that a new one?
detail, like,
But she needs that mask on, the one
Yes.
with the horns. Like that's what
Yeah.
looks so cool. She needs that. They should have put her in that mask in that package. Like that's how they should have left it.
Absolutely.
Oh
Yep.
man, that is a sweet figure, Shane.
yeah,
Shane,
I really like
was
it.
Was that your show and tell?
Yeah, sure. I just got it today.
Yeah, we got to do a
Well,
quick
hell
show
yeah.
and tell.
Did you have something else for show and tell though, or just Oscar fig?
I won this guy in a little raffle. Little
Oh,
sign
wow.
Cody Rhodes.
Sweet.
That's sweet right there.
Can't go wrong with Cody.
That's all I got.
Well, hell yeah, man. Yeah, I think I want to get that Oscar figure too. Did that one just release, or has it been out for a little bit?
I've had for a couple months.
I think it's been out for a little bit, but not super long. I got
Yeah,
it
I
off
think
of
it's starting to show
Amazon.
up in stores now.
I seen it in the store the one day, but I didn't have the money on me to get it. And then when I went back, it was gone. But I found that on Amazon.
Hell
So,
yeah. All right, well we'll just go snake reversal here. Dr. Nick, what's your show and tell for this week?
All right. Well, on my renewed journey to get all of the big four pay-per-views on VHS, I got this from one guy, and I got Survivor Series 93.
My favorite of all time.
This is an extra, but it was in the lot, so I figured why in the hell not. Survivor Series 94
Yeah, why the hell not?
Nice.
Yeah.
and Survivor Series 96.
Oh yeah.
So what made this also kind of cool for me, like most people would try to remove these, I won't. I love the fact that the Blockbuster stuff is still on there. That to me just adds extra to the nostalgia.
I agree.
Because when the video stores went out of business, especially the mom and pop ones around me, I went around and bought every wrestling VHS I could. So I'm
Hell yeah,
getting
man.
pretty close to having all the big four. I only have like maybe 10 or so left.
Now, Nick, did you watch on Tuesday? Because on Tuesday, I had up probably 10 different VHSs on Tuesday Nights Live.
No, I was there for the first 10 minutes and I've been sick. I'll have to look.
Rewatch.
Is the replay still up?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Okay.
still up, but those are all gone. But I'll
Oh,
have
damn.
some more. So I talked about it on Tuesday that I'm gonna try to have some more every week for the next few weeks, just because I ended up with
Okay,
so many
cool.
extras. But we had some really sweet ones on there. So, but I know how it is because I'm collecting them. Ben's collecting them. Brian's now collecting them, and I think Kev is on the verge of collecting them
Well, and
now
as
because
you've
he
seen,
sees.
certain ones are so expensive.
I know. Yep. And you know,
They've
ones
got,
that are
like, you used to be able to go
one
on eBay and the average tape was like $8-10. Now they're like
right.
$50-$60.
Yep. Well, a lot of the $50-$60 ones I sold on Tuesday for like $15, $10, stuff like that. So, yep.
Fantastic deal.
All right, Kev,
Okay.
what you got?
My turn. No, this is going to be real fast. No words needed.
Oh, baby.
Nice.
That's gotta be
Beautiful.
Kane.
Nice.
Is that Kane? That's gotta be Kane.
Gotta be Kane.
That's
all.
a beauty.
Beautiful.
I gotta give me one of
Guys,
them.
one of the comments in the chat too, Kevin Vanguard, a good friend of ours, Kevin, he said he's got some VHSs available too, and I can personally vouch for Kevin. He's done many a good transaction with us here and with other
Yes.
folks. So highly, highly, highly recommended to check out Kevin. Great guy, long term, with TRC, like a lot of you guys are too. So definitely check it out if you're looking for some nostalgia VHS. So I think it's my show and tell time too. The only thing I'm going to show this week is I really wanted this for the collection. It's the new Bret the Hitman Hart Ultimate from the Monday Night Wars. I don't usually go into the big blue brand stores, but Ben actually found this for me, messaged me, called me, and ultimately picked it up for me and sent it to me. So huge shout out to Ben. And you know what we got to do since it's going in the PC.
Rip
You
it.
got to give it the old. Look at that. Look at that, Brett.
It just slid right open like it wanted to do.
Now, Will, are you gonna display it with the glasses on or just no glasses?
You know, I'm afraid the head scan is so bad on this Brett that if I don't put the glasses on, it'll just be hideous forever. So it's going to require the glasses.
That's what I would do. Yes.
Because the head scans on almost every Brett are bad, but on this particular Brett, they're really bad.
Yeah.
So I would say glasses are a must.
So I will warn you about that figure. I've heard be very careful putting the glasses on because I've heard that the hair is pushing the sticker off the glasses. Apparently, certain ones, the glue isn't very good on it.
Okay.
It's got to be careful,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you.
Ben, what you got?
Well, to go off what William had during that same time, I was looking for this one. I've been really looking forward to getting this one, and I finally got it. The Roddy Piper WCW Elite.
Is that mine?
Yours is as a matter of fact is right here. But yeah, I was able to find two, and like I said, I love it. And then the last but not least, me and Kev get to go see this gentleman this weekend, and got the new Jerry Lawler Elite.
Awesome.
And
you gonna pay $100 to get him to sign it?
No, this one I'm keeping, and eventually either I'll open or just to have. And but I'm not paying to get it signed. But I have Jerry at home. I have enough Jerry.
Exactly. That's what I was getting to say.
This one's not like I said. This one, like I said, it's been a harder one to find, so I was able to find it and finally add that to the collection.
Manuel coming in with the controversial comment. You
Oh,
put the
awesome.
letter S in front of the Hitman. You get the exact thoughts, his exact thoughts on Bret Hart.
Steve
Isn't this-
Austin
Well, we all
promo.
know Brett doesn't like Bill Goldberg.
Isn't this isn't Manuel supposed to be joining the team here? And he's sitting here talking shit about the Bret man.
Oh, I thought he was just quoting Steve Austin's promo. If he don't like Brett, then we'll have to straighten his ass up. But
He is.
promo.
He's quoting Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Manuel's a good dude. He wouldn't
Yeah,
say
he
nothing
is.
bad about Brett.
No, he wouldn't.
Don't make me call Scott Norton.
That's right.
Yeah, see, he's quoting Steve. We'll see Manuel
All right.
tomorrow or Saturdays too. So
I'll let it slide. I was thinking you were coming for it like Calvin used to.
Calvin.
Shout out to Calvin. I saw him pop up in the chat earlier. He picked up one of those new SummerSlam Lex Luger figures from us that was signed, and man,
He sure
those things
did.
are gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
They are gorgeous.
So I keep trying to show this and I keep forgetting it. So it's the
Hell
Henry
yeah.
Godwin, Phineas Godwin slop bucket.
Hell yeah!
That's
And as you
awesome.
can tell, the signatures pop big time.
Oh, those are great colors on that.
They
That
are.
turned out great.
Yeah, it turned out amazing. That's what I'm showing for my show and tell.
Nice. I like it.
That's great, man. I love the colors on the autos too. He said he laid off.
He also said he gave everybody a chance to get that Lex, and nobody jumped on it for whatever reason, and he snagged that thing up. So
Calvin's being smart when it's coming to Tuesday nights. He's learning from me. That's what I do. I let people, I let it sit, and nobody don't take it. I claim it, and then they bitch about not claiming it later. So fine.
Lose.
He bought one of those. He bought one of those braid jerseys too.
Yeah,
I know Roger bought one and put it in the frame, and Calvin bought one too. And man, those things are gorgeous. I love those. I think they look incredible.
Hell yeah, Brian, what you got, man?
So, guys, do you mean that Lex Luger figure?
Yeah, that's
yes. Love it.
Beautiful. I'm gonna get this one signed eventually, but for now it's unsigned. I also got this from Ben a while ago, and I know Kev has one. This thing's awesome.
Love them. I have several of those wood blockheads, and they're fantastic. Every one of them.
And then last Saturday, I went to a local toy store, and I seen this there. It's my very first wrestling VHS, but it's WrestleMania 2.
Oh yeah.
And like Dr. Nick, it has a Blockbuster sticker, and even on the.
Yep.
Yep. We've
That's all I got.
contaminated Brian. We've infected Brian with the VHS.
Hey,
tapes.
I got you guys hooked on Superstar figs, so I mean it's only fair for you to get me going.
Not just Superstar figs, big rubber guys, and all kinds of other stuff too.
Yep.
So
big rubber guys.
Yeah, big rubber guy, Ric Flair, big rubber guy figure.
Retros and the heels and gimmicks or whatever the new ones.
Heels and faces.
Heels and faces.
Every time Brian posts anything in our chat, I'm like, oh my god, because I just know it's going to cost us some more money. But he points out some really cool stuff. As a matter of fact, we were in Indy and we weren't going to buy the big rubber guys until I think we saw Brian's.
Yeah,
that's what happened. And then Brian was like, come on, let's just walk over there and look. We don't have to buy anything. We'll just look. I'm like, man. And as soon as I got over there, I bought one. And then Kev's like, where the hell did you get that? And I told Kev. And I think Kev and Brian went back and bought one too. So, yeah.
I wasn't going to go because it was Cardona's place. And Brian said, well, Cardona's not down there because I'm not a fan of him. And we walked down there and there was Cardona.
Yep.
And then they had a little kid there or whatever, young kid, and he sold it to me. And I said, thank you. And he didn't say
that's Swoggle's son.
So was okay. So
but you did call Hornswoggle a little shit.
I said under my breath to that guy because he didn't say thank you back. I said, you little bitch. And then I kind of looked back and seen Swoggle. I'm like, okay, I need to watch my mouth from now on.
And true story. This is after the fact. William bought a brand new, beautiful Lex Hasbro figure. He went and got the Ric Flair big rubber guy. So,
Yep.
or should I
To
say,
answer-
just
To
got it
answer
for him.
Manuel's question, they did make a narcissist.
Yeah, I have one
Elite.
signed. Yeah, that I bought from Brian Howarth.
I was about to say, I remember seeing that in the past 1 to 2 years. It's recent. It was a Target Legends, right?
No, it was an earlier Elite series that had like the purple cape and the silver. I don't remember what series it was from.
It's a beautiful
it's
figure.
been a while.
I got it from
Gotcha.
William, and I gave it, and I sold it to Kev.
Yep, and it's on my wall.
All right, so closing out show and tell. I got 2 new pop figures this week. The first one I got from Target. I don't actually have it on me. I forgot to pull it down from the wall, but it was the Hurricane Target pop figure. But this one right here, I bought some Pokemon cards off of Nash, which I didn't see him in the comments tonight. But he threw in some extra like late birthday gifts for me. And as you guys know, I've been looking for this pop figure for a while. And he was able to obtain one and gifted it to me as a late birthday present. So super excited to finally have this. It's one less thing that I have to think about when I'm out hunting for stuff. And it's just a beautiful pop figure. And I don't know why they short printed this thing, but you can't find it at retail anywhere.
Just like
So
his Elite.
The other Cody one's expensive now too. The one with him in the jacket.
Yep.
That
And then
one was a
and then-
Walmart exclusive.
And then probably the one that Shane showed too.
Yeah.
All the Cody stuff went up. This one, I think resellers on eBay are trying to sell it for like $45.
Damn.
Which is, it's freaking crap. Because I mean, it's supposed to be $12.99. I mean,
I
you
opened
understand, like-
mine. My box is in the garbage.
yeah. Well, I mean, I still haven't decided whether or not I want to do that. I might for space saving, but I want to make sure I buy a nice glass case to keep all the pops in first. Or like I've seen people on YouTube where they'll have them out of the box, but then they'll turn this box sideways so you can still see who it is, like on the name there. So there's a couple of different ways you could display them outside of the box. But yeah, I guess that's going to conclude the episode for this week. And, I love all you guys, and I'm glad that you're going to keep doing the show without me. And I'll be sure to tune in, or at least catch the replay and everything. Anything else anybody else wants to say before we head out for the night?
We'll miss you.
Guys, don't forget next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, we have the Shockmaster Typhoon Tugboat, the Fred Ottman autograph signing. So check that out. Get your pre-orders in. We're getting really low on time on those. There's a lot of great opportunities out there to get some of that great stuff at a really low price. And then, obviously always Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock, come hang out with us. We basically trim the show back to an hour every week. So it's more enjoyable for everybody to kind of get in, watch it quickly, and then go on with their lives. So definitely check that out, guys.
Richard asked,
great
do you guys
work
have
of-
anyone else lined up? Manuel is supposed to take my spot, I believe.
But
What
we
were you gonna
always
say,
have
Dr. Nick?
special,
Nicky
if
might
anybody
have
Great
been
words of
asking.
Bob
Special
Barker.
guest.
Make sure you spay and neuter your animals.
Yeah.
Hey, we always like when members jump on. We can rotate in and out. We like having new people jumping on and joining us. So
Oh, he meant talent. Is there any
Except
new
for
talent?
Woody Allen.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's what I thought he meant.
Yeah, as for talent, it's Fred Ottman in 2 weeks. And then right now we have August, we have The Gathering. And then
I'll be there for that
October,
one.
The Gathering's going to be good. And then we have Demo in October. So that's right now all the talent we have so far.
Here
throughout
comes
the
the
year.
X. Here comes the Smasher.
Well, all right, guys. I guess that's it. Have a great weekend, and we'll catch you on the next one. Or they will.
Peace.